Hello there, troublemakers. This is the LG V30S ThinQ. Let's say that again. LG V30S ThinQ. So it's a handful, a mouthful of a name. But yeah, this phone was announced at Mobile World Congress. They gave me one at Mobile World Congress. If you follow my travels and you follow my Instagram and etc., you'll know that I went to South by Southwest, did a road trip in my camper van like I do from time to time, and took lots of photos with this phone. And so I've had it for a while, and you know, it didn't come in a box. It was just, they gave me the phone. It's a pre-production device. Again, this phone is currently only available in Korea, so I'm not sure if it will be available in the US at some point, but for now, only available in Korea. So I've had it since Mobile Congress. I took it on this road trip. I took some photos. You saw it. And I wanted to give you kind of my impression after using it for like over a month, basically. It's got everything I loved about the original V30. Of course, being the V30 Plus, the S Plus, it means it's the beefed out version, 256 gigabytes of storage and all the trimmings, of course, more RAM. I think you might have 6 gig on this one. But anyway, the point is that it's a V30 with basically some AI features in the software and in the camera, and it has some features with Google Assistant where you can ask it to do things and bring up the camera and stuff, basically like what Bixby does on the Samsung, which is not something that Google Assistant normally does. So that's basically what this phone is about. Just a software update with a new name, with some AI features in the camera, and these camera features and all the software features should eventually trickle down to the V30. So in that sense, it doesn't really deserve a review. So I decided to make this a hands-on. So anyway, there is another part to this story. Before I show you the back, let me show you the front. This display is the same display as the original V30. It's a Quad HD plastic OLED from LG. It's a controversial panel because it's, basically here, by the way, I'm running Google Now Launcher, in case you're wondering, this is not LG's launcher. I mean, it looks really good, right? It's a good viewing angles. Got a bit of that bluish hue when you go to the sides, but pretty decent viewing angles. Things appear to float on the display. Quad HD 1440 display. Yeah, very nice. But remember, this is the same display, same Snapdragon 835. Same everything, same camera specs, just a new name and new camera software. So you can see there's very little bezel, a little chin at the bottom, a little chin at the top. You got the front-facing camera, which is a little low-endish camera compared to the rest of the phone. That haven't improved that. I think it's only 5 megapixel or something. Speaker and the sensors. This is the same display as the Pixel 2 XL as well. So again, it's a problematic display because unfortunately it does have a bit of inconsistencies in kind of dimmer settings. This is better than my V30 prototype that I have. It's better than my Pixel 2 XL, which is one of the early ones, but it's still not as good as a Samsung display for sure. So now that I've prefaced all of this, I want to tell you about a little incident I had with this phone. And part of the reason why I waited so long to give you this kind of little, preview, hands-on, mini review, whatever you want to call it, was on my road trip where I used this phone extensively, I had a little mishap and I dropped the phone. It was sitting on a glass coffee table. And it's very slippery, as you know, because of the glass back, and it slowly slipped on the glass and fell off the glass table onto a tile floor. And as you know, it doesn't take much to break glass when it falls on something hard. So the back of my phone got a crack, and the metal, the stainless steel or whatever, aluminum, one of the corners got dinged. It was only about 2 feet, but it did quite a bit of damage. I was very surprised, considering this is rated pretty good rating in terms of shock proofing. Now the phone is fine, right? It's just all cosmetic. So here's the first thing I'm going to show you. you're going to see that I have this little slightly brighter spot right here because I polished it. It's a small ding, basically a flat spot in the metal that I polished into a shiny color. But it's not the same shiny as the rest because this is kind of a smoked gray color and this is now a pure chrome. So you don't really tell, you can't really tell if you're looking casually, but if you look close up, you can see it a little bit right here. So no big deal, but it's disappointing. And the biggest problem was, and you can't see this right now because I'll explain why in a second, the corner right here, you can see a little bit of the damage underneath the skin here. And then there's a crack that kind of goes along the edge. So guess what I did? I talked to my good friends over at DBrand. And I said, hey, folks, would you be so kind as to send me a cool DBrand skin that kind of matches the gray finish of the back of the phone? The camera and fingerprint reader here is kind of the gray finish that the phone had. And they were very kind and sent me this DBrand faux stainless or faux brushed metal finish skin for me to hide my mistake and cover the back of the cracked glass. Mostly so I would stop getting a little, you know, glass shards in my hand, really, is what it's about. So, of course, the phone is no longer IP68, it's no longer water resistant because it has a cracked back, but cosmetically, this is very close to what it looked like originally. The only thing missing is the LG logo and the little Bang & Olufsen audio logo that was right below here. So, this is an adventure. I sadly cannot show you the phone the way it was, because the glass is cracked. My original V30s survived an entire trip to Morocco without being dropped, so this is kind of unusual for me to drop phones. Well, I guess I didn't. It just slid off of a glass table, so glass on glass. Don't put glass phones on glass. And so that's, you know, basically the same industrial design in the back as the V30 original, in case I've got this awesome DBrand skin. So I want to say thank you to DBrand for sending me that skin and letting me kind of fix my mistake. And, you know, between that and the little polished spot right here that I fixed up, we've got a phone that, you know, as you can see, is cosmetically pretty clean still and pretty good. So there's no other damage anywhere on the phone. Front is perfectly fine. So there you go. So that's the cosmetics of the V30S ThinQ. Very much the same design as the original V30. In the cameras, there's, you know, again, the same design. You've got that main shooter and the wide angle. The wide angle is f/1.9. The main shooter is f/1.6. I think the camera, the main camera is a 16 and the wide angle is a 13 megapixel. But I mean, it doesn't matter because they're pretty awesome cameras, to be honest with you. This is a great phone to use for shooting manual mode. It's got lots of manual features. You know, you've got the flash and sensors and the fingerprint reader, which is also the power lock button. So, you know, if you push on it, it'll go to sleep, and push on it again, it'll wake up. And of course, if you push with your fingerprint, you unlock it instantly and very fast. So again, cosmetically, other than the little damage that I hid with the skin, this phone is identical to the V30, despite being, in this case, the S Plus, which is the 256 gig, you know, pimped out version. And again, my V30 has kind of like a regular kind of shiny chrome, whereas this is like some sort of kind of like smoked colored darker chrome. And the back was gray, just like the fingerprint reader, and the skin is very close to the gray that it was. This is not the one you want. If you're going to buy this phone, like imported from Korea or something, you're going to want to buy the blue one. There's like a Moroccan blue, which is amazing. So let's talk about this. The meat of this phone is really the software. Like, what did they change? What did they improve? Well, most of the UI is the same. As you can see, I put Google Now Launcher on there because I don't like the skin from, as you can see, I don't like the skin from LG. But that's nothing new. The rest is pretty much the same as it's always been. You know, you got the settings are all colorful as they've always been. This is where you know you're no longer trying to copy a pixel here, because it looks very, very different. And also, I like the system font. I actually keep my LG phones with LG's own font because I really think it's a beautiful font. Check it out. So The big differences are the Google Assistant can now invoke commands into the camera. I haven't tried this. I don't really care. It's a gimmick to me at this point. But the camera has some new features. So let me show you. What I'm going to do is I'm going to take off my Huawei Watch 2 here and use it as a prop, right? Because that makes for a good prop we can close up on. All right, so here's the watch, and then let's bring up the camera up. And as you can see, the user interface of the camera hasn't really changed too much. It's the same setup, but you see these two toggles here, Q lens and AI cam. So if I tap on AI cam, it turns on the AI mode. And you can see like all these little text bits that are randomly appearing, it's basically the AI coming up with what it sees. So it says close-up, blue, swimwear. No, it's not swimwear. Wristwatch. Oh, we got that. Close-up, flip-flop, blue, satin. So I don't know if you see it, but let me see if I can get a little closer for you. Oh, it figured something out finally, decided a person, but it's not a person, probably because I put my hand in the way. So there you go. It's definitely decided it's a person now. So it says person down there. You see it? But if I remove it now, what is it going to come up with? So it's still trying to decide, the AI is trying to figure out what's the best mode it wants to use, and it's still going to do person because it's on my hands. So let's try to, you know, maybe reposition it to force, and you can see all these little words appearing. So that's what the AI does, and basically it decides on what the best preset mode is to use, and then eventually it lets you use that. And in this case, as you can see, it settled on, oh no, it said close up, but it didn't, it hasn't selected a mode yet. So it's probably going to go auto mode if I shoot. So as you can see, it's not really that great. You know, if I pointed at like, you know, another spot, like, you know, my hoodie over there, I don't know what it's going to come up with. It says person as well. I don't know. It's very much stuck on person right now. I do have noticed that if I pointed at like a cityscape, it'll say cityscape. If I pointed at food, it'll say food. If I pointed at, you know, like flowers, it'll say flowers. So it basically picks one of 8 modes based on what it thinks it's looking at. And then, of course, you get the wide angle, right? Which it gives you a much better view. And the AI still operates in wide angle, of course. So again, it's going to say person here because it thinks it sees my hand in there, right? But you can see how the AI is constantly popping these little words. So it's really a gimmick at this point because all it does is pick a preset mode for you. It doesn't really do much else. And so that's a little disappointing, to be honest with you. Then you have the Q lens mode, and Q lens basically is kind of like Google Pixel, what is it, Google Lens or whatever, or Bixby, where it tries to identify, you know. So if I take, like, it tells me I can choose to, you know, visual shopping, which I think is Amazon, visual search, which is Pinterest, and scan a QR code. I mean, again, nothing that you don't have on a Google Pixel. So it's not really that exciting. But there are a few tweaks to the camera UI that I think are interesting. One of them is this bright mode here. Take bright and clear photo videos in the dark. Not available in UHD 60 frames per second. So this is kind of like a pixel binning mode where it combines pixels and gives you a better photo. Based on the binning. You lose resolution, of course, but hey, that's helpful. That's what the P20 Pro do, and what the what was it, the 808 PureView and the Nokia Lumia 1020 did, right? So anyway, that's really it. The modes are all very similar. There's a Cine Video mode. The Cine Video lets you set these a point zoom. So actually, let me go to wide angle. Turn off the point zoom, and I don't know if I can pick the wide angle or not here. I guess not. That's interesting. But if I pick the point zoom, it lets me zoom to the point that I defined as very smoothly as possible. Let me show that to you again. So I can zoom back to the middle, you see? If I pick a zoom point that's down here, I can zoom, it'll zoom to that point smoothly, and then it'll zoom back to that that point. So it's cool. You can get like a nice smooth video zoom. So that's a new feature. The other thing that's a new feature is this mode here. Where is it? I think it's this. No, that's just my camera. Oh, there it is. It's up here. So you tap on here, and you get these preset cinema filters. So for example, if you want this to look documentary-ish, you can have it a little darker with vignette, and you can set the strength of the filter. Where is it? Here. So you can set the strength of the filter and the vignetting you want, and then you have like a classic, like an old black and white vibe if you want to go for an old black and white vibe. So interesting. I don't know, kind of gimmicky, but that's the new Cine video mode. Of course, you still have manual photo, manual video modes, manual video, manual photo, and all these are great, and they're just as good as what we've experienced in the past on the LG V30. So that's really it. I mean, between the Google Assistant AI and this AI cam mode, which as we know is not that useful, there's really not much new on here. I mean, of course you have the lens feature here, but again, I'm not convinced this is a very useful thing. So the Cine mode is gimmicky. It's cool if you like doing, Instagram type stuff, in my opinion. So that's it. A quick hands-on preview, mini review, or whatever you want to call it, of the LG V30 Plus ThinQ. No, V30S Plus ThinQ. Jesus, LG, what a crazy amount of words. So that's it. And again, I want to thank DBrand because they really saved me here. I had a similar problem with my G6 last year where I cracked the back accidentally, and I was able to get a replacement back in Taiwan and get that installed. It lost its water resistance because of it, because it wasn't the perfect seal anymore. But in this case, the V30S ThinQ is so new and only available in Korea, so finding the replacement back in the right color, you're going to say, why don't you put a V30 back on there? Yeah, but I want the matching color to the camera and fingerprint sensor. So I couldn't find a replacement, and I'm not going to be in Asia anytime soon to get a $20 new back done. So DBrand to the rescue. Thanks, folks at DBrand, and stay tuned for more videos. The next one that I'm about to do live, you're going to be super stoked about because it has something to do with Huawei's new phone. That's all I have to say. All right, subscribe, like the video. Remember, this is just content to accompany my podcast. Go visit mobiletechpodcast.com, subscribe to the podcast, tell your friends about it. I'm on iTunes, I'm on Pocket Casts and everywhere as well. So there you go. Cheers, folks. Talk to you later. Bye.